Ahoy there, my name's Beth and this is the story of how I renovated my 1904 Dutch sailing barge. This week we're back down in the Bilges. So it's Sunday morning. No, it's not actually, it's Sunday afternoon now because I've been really lazy this morning. I didn't even wake up until about 10:45. And then I watched a bit of Netflix and had a couple of cups of coffee, and then we just walked a bit. So I was going to, so the plan was originally that I was going to do some painting today because it's quite nice and sunny and warm and I can leave all the portholes open. But to be honest, I'm just so tired, I could do with a day off. So I decided I'm not going to do any painting. And then I went for a walk with Bertie and it's so bright and sunny and the rest of the week is rainy. I have to do some painting, so the plan's back on again. So yeah, I'm going to do a little bit. Also, I'm going to go for a drink and some food later on with some neighbours and friends, and so I kind of want to finish up then. So yeah, I'm going to mix up another sort of couple of litres of the paint. Last time it was about 2 hours worth of work and it's sort of 1:30 now. So yeah, that might be kind of okay. So I'm not really looking forward to it. I really would like a day of just sitting around watching Netflix, but the thing is, sitting around not watching Netflix isn't going to get the boat done, and doing some actual work is. So so let's just stop whining and crack on with it. So by this point, I'm getting quite used to doing the painting. It's still quite a hard job because you're on your knees, but I guess I'm getting through about a litre every hour, so that's not too bad. So last week, as it started to rain, I had to work quickly, but I started working on these pieces. And you might recognise these as pieces from the floorboards. So they are old sections of floorboard. But I've cut off the pieces that have been damaged with screws that I've gone through. And I've made them, I've kind of chamfered the edges. So that means that these ones all go together like this. And they actually form the trim on the inside of the forehatch. And the reason I'm doing this now is because I'd like to get that dry. And actually there's quite a bit of condensation on the metal around because it's only single glazed. It's the only thing in the boat that now is single glazed. And in the cold, with the moist air inside, it condenses and then drips. And that will be at some point over my bed, so I don't want that. So I'm going to make, for a start, I'm going to make some trim that goes around the inside, and then I'm going to make another hatch that kind of fits in here and then sort of folds, bolts or locks into place somehow, and that will have like a single glaze, probably a perspex sheet or something, clear perspex sheet, and that will mean that I've got effectively double glazing there, and it'll trap in a section of air in that void. And it'll mean that won't condense and it won't drip on the bed. So that will be in place in winter. And that will look really good. So what I tried to do last week was to lighten these pieces, because actually this is quite heavy wood, even though it looks lovely on the outside. So I used it because it looks really nice, but it's heavy wood because it's really thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of the back out, which I don't need. And I started experimenting just freehanding with the router last week, and it's not really, it's too much work to kind of you know, move the router down a little bit and just keep on nibbling away at it. So I'm going to use the table saw, and I'm going to set the blade so it's not really high. It's a little helicopter. Can you hear that sound? It sounds like a helicopter from like 1980s TV. Thought a duck was behind me. Anyway, so I'm going to use the blade not all the way through, so I'm not going to cut through this board. It's going to be set sort of 2/3 of the way through high in the board, and then I'm going to move it backwards and forwards and just eat away at this, and then I can take that section out, so that should tidy it up nicely. So it means I'll have a piece of wood with a kind of hole in that. You might notice it's flat on this side and it's got a groove on this side. Now I've left this groove, this was a tongue and groove floorboard, but I've left this groove because actually where the board will go in, there's little bolts sticking out, and it means I don't need to rebate loads of little holes for the bolts. I don't need to kind of make a space because they'll fit in there. So yeah, so that'll look really nice. And then I've cut some trim to go on that, which I'll show you in a minute. So you might think I really love power tools, and they're really great and super handy, but also I'm really scared of them at the same time. The table saw especially is just such a violent machine. So you can see I'm using the push stick really carefully, and my fingers are going nowhere near the saw. So now I've taken out all the back, and it looks a bit rough, but it doesn't need to be too tidy. If I was doing it cleaner, then you could use a sort of plane or chisel or something to clean this out, but I don't really need it. And in fact, if there's any expanding foam, it'll just connect. It'll adhere to this better. So yeah, you can see I've cut out this kind of void. So when it's there in the boat, you won't see that cut out. So it's been a week of a few bits of progress, but not a huge amount. But at least, yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 extra of these kind of ribs, or the sections between the ribs, done. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to go. So my plan is, when I did this painting, it was so smelly. It's really, really bad stuff. And I did it on a warm day, and then it means I could open all the portholes and the hatch, the door, have Bertie outside, and then it means that it wouldn't be too bad. And while I'm painting, I'm wearing a respirator, which is fine, so I don't get affected by the paint. But later on, even much later on, last time I did some painting, I left for a few hours and came back, and it died down a lot, but still, it was just horrible that night. It was just, every time I woke up, it was just this kind of gas and like stink, and so it's just really unpleasant. So I think my plan is for next week is that I'm going to try and do a full day of painting, and I'm going to get all the rest of them done. Now I've got about 6 to 7 litres of paint, so I should have enough to do the rest of it. But in any event, that's kind of like the maximum I can do, because that's the amount of paint I've got. So I'm going to try and do that, and then I'm going to try and sleep somewhere else for the night, because it actually does die down really quickly, 24 hours, and it's actually stopped smelling. But for that 24 hours, it's really horrible. So that's my plan. For next week. So yeah, I think the plan, I'm just going to try and get all of the painting done this week, and then, or next week, and then I can move on. We're going to obviously get the hatch surround in soon as well, but yeah, so I'm going to focus on the painting and try and get that done, because then that means I can get the plywood ordered and I can start putting the floor down. And I also do need to make some sort of subfloor for here as well, out with some angle iron, so that's another thing, I've got to get that ordered as well. Anyway, I just kind of focus on one thing at a time, and yeah, I'll try and get this painting done. So that's that. So thanks again for watching, and a huge thank you to everybody who subscribed to my channel. You might notice that we've just reached 1,000 subscribers, and it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. You know, I started this channel a while ago, and I kind of just wanted to sort of document what I was doing every week, and I just wanted it to be like a calm and quiet place, just for a bit of pottering and stuff. So you know, the world is quite a difficult place at times, so I kind of wanted it just to be a sort of slightly calm place, and maybe even a bit boring sometimes when you're just watching paint dry. Sorry about that. But it's amazing. But then when I started the channel, I wasn't expecting anybody to be interested, and I certainly wasn't expecting anyone to be nice to me. And that might sound a bit silly, but I don't expect people to be nice to me. The kind comments that you've left and the support has been really moving, and it's really touched me. It's really sort of changed my kind of view of things, because it's a little bit nerve-wracking sort of putting yourself out there on the internet, because you're kind of out there in the open, and it's you know, you kind of maybe even feel a little bit vulnerable, but yeah, I'm so glad that I started this channel a long time ago now. Well, not a long time ago, maybe a year and a half or something. And then yeah, I've been obviously posting my videos since then. So yeah, I'm really moved. I'm really touched, and 1,000 is just so many. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And so just thank you. That's all I can say is thank you. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your welcome, and thank you if you subscribed. And if you haven't, thank you anyway, because you're good people. Thank you. So yeah, that's been the big thing this week. I even got an email from YouTube saying that's bananas. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to keep on sharing this journey with you. I'm going to keep on chipping away at this big project, and then, you know, who knows, in a bit of time when we're all you know, a bit more sorted, I can show you some trips away on the boat as well, trips upriver and even downriver. So yeah, anyway, that was a lot of me rambling. But yeah, again, one more thank you, huge thank you, and yeah, let's come back next week and paint some bilges. Oh, hi there, my name's Beth, and this is the story of how I renovated my 1904 Dutch sailing barge. This week, we're back down in the bitches.